Microsoft is cutting another 9,000 jobs and another second wave of layoffs. All right. So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let's get into this whole Microsoft layoff conversation. And let's finish it off with that.
We got some breaking news just before you stepped onto set. This coming from Microsoft that basically they're going to cut 9,000 workers in a second wave of major layoffs. It seems like Microsoft is really looking to reduce headcount here.
And look, I think coding assistant as a tool is now pretty well established. It's the fastest growing software category this year. And every software maker has launched, even Google just launched their own coding assistant. So what they're saying is we are not only launching the product, we are actually changing the workflows within our organization. And companies like Microsoft and Google, I mean, they have the highest R&D in spend. So a lot of those coders, I think, are going through this restructuring right now in terms of how their jobs are changing.
All right, well, the stock, I mean, it's down in today's pre-market, but it's still up 150% over the last 5 years, up 16% this year. Obviously, they're leading by example here.
Yeah, really outperforming year to date. I do think it's interesting to compare and contrast Microsoft, which clearly wants to cut workers, wants to reduce its headcount, to Meta, for example, which is hiring quite aggressively right now.
And spending almost $3 billion in those 10 acqui-hires. I mean, we're talking about pretty much a sizable acquisition here in terms of bringing those 10 marquee researchers on board. And look, that's how I think every big player is going to think about, how can I get the smartest people in AI to come and join the team?
So let me break this down for y'all for a second, because there's two different philosophies from two different companies. And full disclosure, I am invested in both of them. I have a significant investment in Meta, and I have a significant investment in Microsoft. I think that both of those companies are incredible, excellent companies to continue to invest in, and they have two different strategies from two different types of CEOs. I think that Microsoft, similar to Google, is continuing. They're all running and racing into AI. When you think about the 9,000 workers that are being laid off, you're not talking about the workers that are the AI machine learning, prompt engineers. You're not talking about cloud infrastructure. You're not talking about some of that, right? You're talking about workers that are no longer needed depending on the direction that the company is going in. Whereas Microsoft has a huge investment in ChatGPT and OpenAI, which is being ran by Sam Altman. Meta is largely considered to be behind in the AI race. And so what they're doing is they are spending aggressively to shore up and compete against the Googles, the Gemini, the OpenAI, the Microsofts, and so on and so forth. And one of the complaints that is happening over at OpenAI, which is ran by Sam Altman, which is the company that actually gives you ChatGPT, is he has been complaining that Mark Zuckerberg, through his aggressive poaching, has been stealing their employees that actually work on their AI software. So this is a war in research and development. And somebody asked me in the chat, Anton, where do you think that the majority of the money and the energy, and where should we be going from a jobs perspective? Everything should be AI, machine learning, engineering, from a prompt engineering perspective, if you're talking about technology. Some of y'all call me and some of y'all send me emails and some of y'all send me super chats sometimes, and you say, Anton, I want to go into computer science. You can't just go into computer science. You have to specialize. You have to specialize. You have to specifically pick a field that is largely research and development, and it is specializing with a focus in artificial intelligence. If you are going into the technology sector and the technology field, that is the direction that you need to be going in. Otherwise, you need to be going into cybersecurity, because that is going to be a huge thing, or you need to be going into cloud infrastructure. But yes, Meta has been poaching OpenAI employees. Let me see if I can find an actual video to support that. Yeah, here we go.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman addressing Mark Zuckerberg's Meta platforms. He's trying to hire away OpenAI's workers. In a memo to OpenAI researchers that it was obtained by Wired, Altman said the following. He said, quote, Meta has gotten a few great people for sure, but on the whole, it's hard to overstate how much they didn't get their top people and had to go quite far down their list. Altman dismissing what he called mercenaries and said that he believes Meta's behavior will lead to cultural problems for that company. He also said OpenAI is evaluating compensation for its employees and that he thinks there is much more upside to shares of OpenAI than of the publicly traded Meta.
Now, what does that mean? Because it's not just about poaching. And this is, again, how people get rich. This is how people get rich. How do you get rich? How do you get rich? You get rich from a corporate perspective by being ahead of the curve in what these companies are going to be looking for when it comes to the most desired jobs. A lot of people only look at working from the singular perspective of what a college is offering from a degree perspective, and then how can they get a job. Very few people actually look at how it is that you're going to get rich from a corporate perspective. Well, Anton, what does that mean? It means that when you are in high demand, when you are in high demand for your field of study, research, and then also what your profession is, when you add value, they are willing to pay for you because there is very few people that actually can do what you do and do it successfully. So what does that mean? That means that not only are they offering a huge compensation package when it comes to a signing bonus to switch over from actually working at this company and being great, and people that are going into that field, but they are also offering huge equity in the company. So, what is the pitch that Sam Altman is making to his employees in order to not leave there and then go over to Meta? He's saying that, listen, if you stay here, you're going to have way more upside in the stock, your stock options, the equity that comes along with working for the company. What have I told y'all inside of the Patreon? That the biggest way that these CEOs, engineers, whatever it is that you do that's great for a company, the biggest way that you make a bag, total compensation is not based off of your base salary. That is the small time. That is for us middle class, weak people that don't actually understand how to negotiate our salary effectively and don't go into the right field. That is your base salary. Your total compensation includes your equity. Your equity is the thing that you're looking at as your upside. That is how you get really, really rich. That is how Silicon Valley and so many different people has gotten rich as far as working for these companies. And so what Meta has to do in order to poach these employees, and it happens all across the board. It's not just that. It's just this is the most open thing because of how much money that Mark Zuckerberg said that he was going to spend in there. Microsoft does it. Tesla does it. Every single great company does it. When they go and poach these employees, they have to give them something egregious, something that is way more valuable than what they would be walking away from. And what Sam Altman is saying is don't walk away from working here because of the level of equity and what you think that the stock is going to be worth later on based off of the direction that we're going. You understand what I'm saying? So now there's a war. There has always been a war. Since as early as I can remember in the year 2000, 2021, 2001, 2002, 2003, there has always been a war and a poaching of employees and an investment in these employees that comes with an equity stake, and that is the way that people get really rich. So when I tell y'all that y'all need to go in certain fields, I'm not telling you just so you can get a job. I'm telling you so that you can absolutely get a career, get rich, and then you got to continue to invest in yourself and pivot. You have to invest in yourself and pivot 100%. They will give them the bag. The bag. It's so funny when I see people that say, you just got a regular job, or I don't know about people that get a regular. Man, you don't understand how much these people are making. And it's just because we're not familiar. Our cultural norms is to celebrate, talk about how we can make a song and then drop it on Spotify and get our distro kid popping. You know what I'm saying? What is our publishing check? That's the only shit that we talk about. We don't talk about total package and compensation, negotiating equity. We don't talk about, listen, y'all talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. What about equity that you're going to get when you negotiate your pay package when you get the right degree? You know what it's like to get poached, to get to for somebody to offer you over $1 million in order to leave one company to go to the next and give you equity into the company. You can leverage that equity to not actually pull it out because you don't want to pay the taxes on it, but instead you can take a loan against it, which allows for you to be able to buy what you want to buy because you don't have to pay taxes on a loan, which is one of the ways in which rich people actually use loans. That's how we start to look at credit. That's when we start to actually talk about loans. That's when we start to actually need banks. Not in the traditional way, and y'all want to talk about increasing your credit score so you can get a better fucking credit card, but so that you can actually take out and leverage your assets to get loans so that you don't have to pay the taxes, and then it reduces your tax burden while at the same time allowing for you to live the life you want to live. Because that's your real collateral, and you can actually get a much lower rate, and it'll cost you less to take out the loan than it does to pay the taxes. We don't talk about the right shit in our culture, in our community. We always talking about the dumb stuff. Yeah, man, these rappers getting robbed. Can they get their masters back? This athlete, he flying out the hose. Don't get me wrong. I like talking about the dick and pussy stuff too. But we got to mix it in with some stuff that's actually worth having a conversation about. You know what I'm saying? We keep on talking about the same stuff over and over again. Man, the economy, food stamps. When do we evolve over from food stamps to where we can actually talk about why Mark Zuckerberg is poaching employees from OpenAI? We don't even know who these motherfuckers are. They walk around the street every single day and they rich as hell. They have unrealized gains and the equity that they have in these companies, and y'all look at them and say they ain't got no swag. I'm popping my balloon because he don't got no swag. I don't like his hookup. Dumb as fuck. Dumb dummies. But this is why I like to actually talk my shit and have these conversations. So much money out here, man. There's so much opportunity. So much to get and gain out of this. So much money. So much money. That's all right. I'm gonna continue to bolster up my monsters, my bag chasers. I'm gonna continue to build up this network of people, and I'm gonna continue to figure out how I can give you all the information so y'all can use it to change your family's dynamics. I'm gonna even if you don't like me, stick around. Even if you don't like me, stick around. Why is Anton saying even if you don't like me, stick around? Because you can't deny that I am the truth and what I give you, and that you can leverage the information. You can get your own fucking reparations. Fuck what everybody else is talking about.